I did a video back in August 22nd last year about 5G. And in that video, I spoke of who I thought the winners were going to be in 5G. And I told you to be watchful of Amazon and Apple and Facebook, as well as Qualcomm, Verizon, and maybe AT&T. I then came back with another video, which was on January the 1st, and that one had a thumbnail that included Jim Cramer, Jeff Brown, and Josh Hughes. And they were pretty heavy on the equipment makers, the Qualcomms, the Intels, the Verizons, AT&Ts, and I started backing off of those. And that video, I even stood in front of a building and basically said it's not the people who build the building that profit, it's the people who monetize that building and start charging rent for, it was a hotel in downtown Birmingham, and start charging rent for years to come, that actually are the winners in any investment, whether it be 5G or a building. And then I did a video on November the 11th about 5G, and let me apologize for that one, because as I went back and looked at it, the voice and the audio and visual were way out of sync, and I've upgraded my quality of my videos, I think, since then. But I wanted to share with you, a lot of what I was saying then was to follow the stocks that are highlighted in this book. It's the Big Nine, and it talks about how these companies are going to profit not only from 5G, but artificial intelligence, machine learning, because they're the people gathering the data. They're the ones who are going to take advantage of cloud computing and mix all this data together so that we can benefit from it, so that we can create some predictiveness into what's going to happen in the future. I alluded in another video, recently I saw on TV a young teenage boy who was an athletic young man, and he wore an Apple Watch, and his Apple Watch alerted him that his heart rate was going skyrocketed. I think at one point it said it got over 200 beats per minute, which is outrageous. Mine is usually around 60. And it told him, his watch literally told him, go to a doctor. And that was done through artificial intelligence. His watch notified a system of some sort that then told him to get to a doctor, and it saved his life. Well, that's who the winners of 5G are going to be, because not only are we going to be monitoring through watches, and we're going to be monitoring through apps on our phone, but it's going to be the Internet of everything. It's going to tell you that your furnace is going to shut down. I just had the blower motor go down on my furnace. I installed furnaces going through college, just paid my way through college, so I knew what was wrong. When I could feel the pipes in the plenum was hot, but there was no hot air coming out, I knew the blower motor was out, so I had it replaced. Well, in the future, my phone's going to tell me that your blower motor is going to go out, because what in fact it was a loose wire connection. So probably what happened is it blinked on, blinked off, blinked on, blinked off, and in the future my phone would tell me, because of 5G, your furnace is going to go out. So my comeback to you now is I thought, well, okay, I did that video on November the 11th. Let's look. And we're nowhere near going into 5G, but let's just look at how the different stocks did that I recommended, and then those that I backed off. I recommended the Big Nine. That's what I said was going to dominate over the next 10 years. Microsoft's up 21%, Google's up 13%, Amazon's up 18%. I'll just show them here on the screen. I'm not going to go through them all. IBM's up 9%. Also sticking out, Facebook's up 10%. Then on the other side of the spectrum were those that Kramer and Brown and Hughes were recommending, and those are the infrastructure stocks. Verizon down 2%. Again, this is since November 11th. Qualcomm up 5%. Nokia up 16%. But if you look at Nokia took a beating before November the 11th. It's like a $4 stock now. So being up 16% really isn't all that much if you've held it any time. They also pitched Ericsson down 1% and AT&T down 2%. Again, think of it as they're building the highway. They're going to get paid for pouring concrete. They're going to be paid for putting up barriers. But once it's done, it's done. The people who are gathering the data are the people who own the toll road, and they're going to be charging you for going down that road from now forever. That's where you want to invest. Now, I want to come back on that and say I'm not real hot on the stock market right now. If you've been watching my recent videos, particularly those that I have under the title of The Coming Retirement Crisis, I think we are in for a massacre. When you look at the underfunding of pension funds and the underfunding of Social Security, and then you tie that with the demographic of the baby boomers retiring and coming and demanding that Social Security and demanding that Medicare and demanding those pensions that have to be paid, and they're all underfunded. Well, if you saw the other video I just did about Warren Buffett having and Berkshire Hathaway having $128 billion of cash sitting on the sideline, which tells me they're expecting a tremendous drop, because that's roughly 25% of Berkshire Hathaway's market cap. This thing's about to explode, because, and as Charlie Munger said, you just can't keep printing money to solve all the problems that you're creating. We have a generation that is expecting to be paid thousands of dollars between Social Security, Medicare, and pensions. Some people are going to receive over $100,000 a year that the states, the federal government, are obligated to. It isn't there. So what has to happen is they've got to raise taxes, or they've got to raise lower services, and that isn't going to happen. So we've got to remark everything, and that is to say this market is going to drop anywhere from 25 to 50%. And again, as Warren Buffett said, I haven't seen anything like this since the Roaring '20s. Well, guess what? We're back in the Roaring '20s, and it's worse than what it was back in 1929 when the stock market collapsed on us. Okay, and then I go back and I say, is this a replay of the Great Depression? Because if you looked at what happened right after the stock market crash, Roosevelt came in and started all these social welfare programs, the first of which is Social Security, and then nobody was working, and they put together the WPA, and then I watched the debates, and I'll be damned if Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party aren't talking the same language. That we got to go back and we got to get rid of all this college debt. We got to get rid of all this people without medical insurance. This just looks too much like a show that I didn't see, but I've read about, and I didn't like the ending on that one. But I think we're in for a big crash. But on the same token, when it comes, the big nine, and do yourself a favor, go down into the description And you'll see a link to this book. It's written by Amy Webb. She's a noted futurist. She does a wonderful job. Another book you need to read, and he's got a new one coming out March the 3rd, and that's Peter Zian's, and it's all about the demographics and the world order and what's going to happen in the world order. And look for that on March the 3rd. And again, there is a link to it in the description. I wanted to get that out. I wanted to just, because Peter wrote me and said, "What do you think the stocks are in for the next 5 years?" Well, Peter, let's let the correction. I've gone to treasuries. I think that I'm in a 10-year treasury ETF, TLT. Today I'm up, I think it's 1.5% because the market is down. It's going to move opposite the market, and I believe the market is going to go way down. My 10-year treasuries will go up, and then I got to get out of them because then I think interest rates are going to start going back up, and that will take my treasuries and push them down for a while, and then I'll get back into them. So anyway, that's kind of a commentary on the 5G video that I did on November the 11th. One more plug for, I'm in a race. I'm training for the race, if you will. It's not the Senior Olympics like I talked about before, but it's to get to 1 million. And I know this sounds outrageous, but it's to get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. It's something I want to do. I love a race, I love competition, and I love giving and sharing with you all. So subscribe, and then help me out by sharing this video with other people you love so they know what I think is going to happen, what I think Warren Buffett knows is going to happen, what I think Jeff Bezos knows is going to happen, because these people are going to cash, just like I went to cash. So, okay, that's my take. Needed to get it off my chest and share it with you. Thanks.